The red alert klaxon blared through the metal corridors of the USS Valiant. Captain Elijah Morgan gripped the arms of his command chair as the massive battleship shuddered. The stars on the main view screen twisted and stretched as the experimental Phantom Drive engaged. "Phantom Drive at full power, Captain," said Lieutenant Olivia Grant from her tactical station. Her fingers moved quickly across the glowing control panel. "We'll cross the Zentari boundary in 30 seconds. Morgan nodded. His square jaw was tight with tension. 20 years in the space fleet hadn't prepared him for this mission. No human ship had ever entered the restricted zone and returned. The Zentari Confederacy had made that perfectly clear when they closed off this sector 5 years ago. "All hands battle stations," Morgan ordered. "Chief Kelly, keep that Phantom Drive running smooth. It's our only advantage." Chief Engineer Alan Kelly's voice came through the communication system. "Doing my best, Captain, but this tech wasn't ready for field testing. We've got maybe 6 hours before the system burns out." Commander Peter Jones, Morgan's second-in-command, leaned close. "We shouldn't be here, Captain. The Admiral is sending us on a suicide mission." Morgan didn't disagree, but orders were orders. 4 days ago, Admiral George Harris had personally briefed him. The mission was simple but impossible. Enter the EU restricted zone, locate something called the Archive, and bring it back to Earth. The Admiral hadn't explained what the Archive was, only that it could change the balance of power in the galaxy. "Crossing boundary now," Lieutenant Grant announced. The view screen showed only empty space, but they all knew what it meant. They were now in forbidden territory. "Stealth systems functioning," said Grant. "No sign of Zentari patrols yet." Dr. Samantha Wright, the ship's xenobiologist, studied her own screen with a frown. "Captain, something's not right. The Zentari claimed this sector was restricted due to a stellar disaster, but I'm not detecting any radiation patterns consistent with that story." Morgan wasn't surprised. "The Zentari have never been honest with us. Keep scanning. Let's find out what they're really hiding." The Valiant moved deeper into the restricted zone. The bridge crew worked in tense silence. They all knew what would happen if they were caught. The Zentari didn't take prisoners. 4 hours later, Lieutenant Grant sat up straight at her station. "Captain, I'm detecting an unusual energy signature at coordinates 2:27 Mark 43. "On screen," Morgan ordered. The view screen changed to show distant points of light that didn't move like stars. "Magnify," Morgan said. The image zoomed in to reveal debris, lots of it. Metal fragments twisting slowly in the vacuum of space. "It's wreckage," Commander Jones said. "From multiple ships." Dr. Wright ran her analysis. "This wasn't a natural disaster, Captain. This was a battle. And from the energy readings, it happened less than 5 years ago. Right before the Zentari closed this sector, Morgan's communication panel beeped. "Secure transmission from Fleet Command, Captain Admiral Harris." The captain nodded, and the main screen changed to show Admiral Harris's stern face. Gray hair cut military short, eyes that had seen too many wars. "Report, Captain Morgan," the Admiral demanded. "We've crossed into the restricted zone successfully, Admiral. No contact with Zentari forces yet. We've discovered wreckage that suggests there was a major battle here, not a stellar event as the Zentari claimed." The Admiral's expression didn't change. "That information is now classified, Captain. Your mission remains the same. New intelligence suggests the Archive is located deeper in the restricted zone. You must retrieve it at all costs." "With respect, Admiral, my crew deserves to know what we're looking for." Harris frowned. "The Archive is an alien data repository containing advanced technology. Technology that could put Earth on equal footing with the Zentari. That's all you need to know." The transmission ended abruptly. Morgan looked around at his bridge crew. "Orders, Captain?" Commander Jones asked. Before Morgan could answer, a warning siren blared. "Zentari patrol ship detected." Lieutenant Grant called out, "They're on an intercept course." "Evasive maneuvers," Morgan ordered. "Full power to Phantom Drive." The human battleship veered sharply, its experimental drive straining as it bent light around the hull. On the view screen, they could see the Zentari patrol ship, sleek, purple-hulled, and dangerous. "They haven't spotted us yet," Grant said. "Their scanners are sweeping the area." The Valiant moved silently through space, keeping the Phantom drive engaged. The Zentari ship came closer, its powerful sensors probing the darkness. Engineering to bridge, Chief Kelly's voice was strained. The Phantom drive is overheating. We need to reduce power or risk a complete failure. Morgan made his decision, quickly. Take us behind that large debris field. We'll power down and let them pass. The Valiant slipped behind a massive piece of destroyed ship hull. The Phantom drive powered down, leaving them visible to sensors but shielded by the debris. Zentari ship is passing by, Grant whispered, as if the aliens might hear her. Their scanners are active, but they haven't detected us yet. Everyone on the bridge held their breath as the enemy ship moved slowly past their hiding spot. Suddenly, the Valiant shuddered. They've deployed some kind of sensor probe, Jones reported. It's scanning the debris field. A tense minute passed, then another. The probe is moving away, Grant finally said. The Zentari ship is continuing on its patrol route. Morgan exhaled slowly. Damage report? Minor hull stress from the Phantom. Drive, Chief Kelly replied. Nothing serious, but we need at least an hour before trying that again. Lieutenant Grant spoke up. Captain, while we were hiding, I detected something else. There's an encrypted signal coming from deeper in the restricted zone. It's faint, but, sir, it's using an old Earth military frequency. That got everyone's attention. Morgan moved to her station to see for himself. Can you decode it? Grant shook her head. Not yet. It's heavily encrypted, but sir, no one should be using that frequency out here. No one human, anyway. Keep working on it, Lieutenant. Dr. Wright, continue analyzing the wreckage. I want to know exactly what happened here. Morgan returned to his chair. Chief Kelly, get that Phantom drive back online. As soon as it's ready, we're following that signal. As the crew returned to their duties, Morgan stared at the view screen. Something wasn't right. Admiral Harris hadn't told them everything. There were no human operations authorized in this sector, at least none that a captain of his rank would know about. The Valiant waited silently among the debris of a forgotten battle, repairs underway, as its crew prepared to push deeper into forbidden space. Whatever the archive was, Morgan was now certain of one thing. This mission was far more dangerous than any of them had been told. An hour passed as the USS Valiant hid among the debris field. Chief Engineer Alan Kelly had managed to get the Phantom drive back online, but he warned it wouldn't last long. The core is running hot, Kelly explained over the communication system. We've never tested it for more than 2 hours at a time. Captain Morgan nodded as he studied the star chart on his personal screen. Understood, Chief. We'll use it sparingly. Lieutenant Grant's console beeped. She had been working non-stop to decode the mysterious signal. Captain, I've cracked part of the encryption. It's definitely human in origin, and it's an SOS signal. Morgan moved to her station. Can you tell who sent it? Not yet, but look at this. Grant pointed to a series of numbers on her screen. This transmission has been repeating for almost 5 years. That's when the Zentari closed this sector, Commander Jones said, his face showing concern. Exactly. Grant nodded. Someone's been calling for help all this time. Morgan turned to Dr. Wright. Any progress on analyzing the debris? The xenobiologist looked up from her work. Yes, Captain. I've confirmed these ships were destroyed in battle, not by any natural event. Most of the wreckage is Zentari in origin, but... She paused. There's something else. I found pieces of hull plating with human manufacturing marks. A heavy silence fell over the bridge. There were no records of human ships in this sector when the Zentari declared it restricted. Are you certain? Morgan asked. Absolutely, Wright replied. But the alloy composition doesn't match any ship in our fleet. It's more advanced. Morgan's communication panel beeped again. Secure transmission from Fleet Command. Admiral Harris appeared on screen, looking more tense than before. Captain Morgan, what's your status? We've avoided one Zentari patrol and discovered human wreckage in this sector, Admiral. Would you care to explain? Harris's expression hardened. That information remains classified, Captain. Have you located the archive yet? We've detected an SOS signal using an old Earth military frequency. We're preparing to investigate. The Admiral leaned forward. That's it. Follow that signal. It will lead you to the archive. Admiral, my crew deserves to know what happened here. Why is there human wreckage? Who sent that SOS? Harris was quiet for a moment. 5 years ago, Earth sent an unauthorized research vessel to this sector. They found something, the archive. Before they could return, the Zentari attacked. We thought everyone was lost. He paused. That signal means someone survived. Find them, find the archive, and bring both home. The transmission ended. Morgan looked at his officers, all waiting for his decision. Set course for the signal's origin, he ordered. Engage Phantom Drive at minimum power. Let's see who's been calling for help all these years. The Valiant moved carefully through the restricted zone, following the weak SOS signal. 6 hours later, they reached its source. Captain, you need to see this, Grant said, her voice filled with awe. On the main view screen, an enormous structure appeared. It wasn't a ship, but some kind of space station. Its design was unlike anything human or Zentari. Ancient curved sections connected to form a massive ring, with strange lights pulsing along its surface. It's huge, Commander Jones whispered. At least 10 times the size of our largest space station. Dr. Wright's scanners worked overtime. Captain, that structure predates both human and Zentari civilizations. It's thousands of years old, yet still has operational systems. The SOS is coming from inside, Grant added. Morgan made his decision. Prepare a boarding party. Commander, Jones, you have the bridge. Lieutenant Grant, Dr. Wright, you're with me. Chief Kelly, I need you too. He tapped his communication badge. Dr. Brown, meet us in the shuttle bay with medical supplies. If someone's been stranded there for 5 years, they'll need help. 20 minutes later, their shuttle approached the ancient station. Up close, the structure was even more impressive, its surface covered in unknown symbols and technology. There's a docking port compatible with our shuttle, Chief Kelly said, surprised, almost as if it was designed for us. The shuttle docked smoothly. Captain Morgan led the team into the station, weapons ready. The corridors were dark, lit only by occasional pulses of blue light. The air was breathable but stale. The SOS signal is coming from the central chamber, Grant said, checking her scanner. About 200 meters ahead. They moved carefully through the alien structure. Strange markings covered the walls, and the architecture seemed to shift slightly as they walked, as if adjusting to their presence. This technology is far beyond anything I've ever seen, Kelly said, scanning the walls. The power source alone must be incredible to run for thousands of years. They reached a large doorway that opened automatically as they approached. Inside was a vast circular room with a column of light in the center. Surrounding it were what looked like stasis pods, dozens of them. Dr. Wright moved to the nearest pod. Most of these are empty, but this one... She wiped condensation from the surface. Inside was a human woman, her eyes closed as if sleeping. Dr. Brown ran his medical scanner over the pod. She's alive, vital signs stable but weak. She's been in stasis for approximately 5 years. Can you wake her safely? Morgan asked. I believe so, Brown said, studying the pod's controls. The interface is surprisingly intuitive. As Dr. Brown worked, Lieutenant Grant and Chief Kelly examined the column of light in the center of the room. Captain, Kelly called out. I think this is the archive. It's some kind of data storage system, but the amount of information it contains must be astronomical. The pod hissed open. The woman inside took a shuddering breath, her eyes fluttering open. Dr. Brown helped her sit up slowly. Where am I? She asked, her voice rough from years of disuse. You're safe now, Morgan said, approaching carefully. I'm Captain Elijah Morgan of the USS Valiant. Can you tell us your name? The woman looked around, disoriented. Lisa Cole, science officer on the USS Horizon. We found this station and then the Zentari came. She grabbed Morgan's arm suddenly. You need to leave. They patrol this sector. They'll kill you like they killed my crew. Calm down, Dr. Brown said gently. You're safe now. Lisa shook her head frantically. No one is safe here. The Zentari want the archive. They'll do anything to control it. She pointed to the column of light. That contains technology that could change everything. The Zentari didn't want us to have it. Before Morgan could respond, the station shuddered violently. Alarm lights flashed, bathing the room in red. Lieutenant Grant checked her scanner. "Captain, 3 Zentari warships have just entered the area. They've detected the Valiant." Morgan hid his communication badge. "Jones, power up the Phantom drive and prepare for emergency departure." "Too late for that," came Commander Jones's tense reply. "They've surrounded the Valiant. We're being hailed by Zentari Commander Vexic." Lisa Cole's face went pale. "Vexic? He led the attack on my ship." The station shuddered again as something docked against its hull. "They're boarding the station," Grant said. Captain Morgan drew his weapon. "Kelly, download whatever you can from the archive. Dr. Brown, get Lisa ready to move. Grant, right. Defensive positions." As the sound of Zentari boarding parties echoed down the corridor, Morgan knew they were trapped between an enemy force and the secret they had just discovered. The real mission was finally becoming clear, and far more dangerous than Admiral Harris had admitted. Captain Morgan moved his team into defensive positions behind the stasis pods as the sound of Zentari boarding parties grew louder. Lisa Cole was still weak, but Dr. Brown had given her a stimulant to help her stay alert. "What exactly is the archive?" Morgan asked Lisa as Chief Kelly worked frantically to download data from the glowing column. "It's a library," Lisa explained, her voice stronger now. "A record of technology from an ancient race that called themselves the Precursors. They built this station thousands of years ago." She paused to catch her breath. "My team found it by accident. We were studying stellar phenomena when our sensors detected this place. The Zentari attacked as soon as we reported our discovery to Earth." Lieutenant Grant checked her weapon. "Why would the Zentari want to keep this secret?" "Power," Lisa said simply. "The archive contains weapons technology far beyond anything we have now. The Zentari High Command wants it for themselves." The station shuddered again. Dr. Wright checked her scanner. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple Zentari life signs approaching from 2 directions." Morgan tapped his communication badge. "Jones, status report. 3 Zentari warships have us surrounded," Commander Jones replied from the Valiant. "Their commander is demanding we surrender. He claims we've violated their restricted zone." "Stall them," Morgan ordered. "Tell them we're on a peaceful scientific mission that strayed off course." "They won't believe that," Lisa warned. "Vexic knows exactly why you're here." Chief Kelly looked up from his work. "Captain, I can't download the archive's data. It's too vast. But I found something else." He pointed to a small device connected to the light column. "This appears to be a key of some kind. I think it can access the archive from anywhere." Morgan nodded. "Take it. We need to get back to the ship." He turned to the others. "New plan. We retreat to the shuttle. Grant, take point. Dr. Brown, help Lisa, Wright and Kelly in the middle. I'll cover our rear." As they prepared to move, the lights in the chamber suddenly dimmed. A soft hum filled the air, and the column of light pulsed brighter. "What's happening?" Dr. Wright asked, looking around nervously. A voice spoke, seemingly from everywhere at once. It was calm, neither male nor female, with an odd accent. "Multiple species detected. Security protocols engaged. I am Sentinel, guardian of this station." Everyone froze. Captain Morgan stepped forward. "We mean no harm. We're here to rescue our friend." The voice, Sentinel, was silent for a moment. "You are human. The female in stasis was granted sanctuary. The others approaching are Zentari. Both species have entered this facility without proper authorization." Lisa's eyes widened. "It's the station's AI. We never got it to respond to us before." "Threat assessment in progress," Sentinel continued. "Zentari approach with hostile intent. Defensive measures activated." A loud screeching sound echoed through the corridors. From the walls, small mechanical devices emerged, floating in the air. "Defense drones," Lisa whispered. "The station is protecting itself." Morgan made a quick decision. "Sentinel, we need safe passage to our shuttle. Can you help us?" "Assessment complete," Sentinel replied. "Humans, potential worthy successors. Zentari, current threat status, this way." A section of wall slid open, revealing a corridor they hadn't seen before. "This will lead to your docking port," Sentinel explained. "Hurry. Zentari forces will be contained temporarily." The team didn't need to be told twice. They rushed through the new corridor, hearing weapons fire in the distance as the Zentari encountered the station's defenses. "Captain," Kelly said as they ran, "I think this station recognized humans as non-threatening. That could be incredibly important." "Later, Chief," Morgan replied. "First, we need to get out of here alive." They reached the shuttle just as the sounds of battle grew closer. As they boarded, Morgan's communication badge beeped urgently. "Captain!" Jones's voice was strained. "The Zentari warships are charging weapons. We can't hold position much longer. Start the engines," Morgan ordered as they strapped in. "We're coming back hot." The shuttle launched from the docking port and sped toward the Valiant. Through the viewport, they could see the 3 Zentari warships surrounding their ship. Purple, energy weapons charging. Suddenly a new voice came through their communication system. The universal translator converted it to English, but the harsh clicking undertones revealed the speaker's alien nature. "Human vessel, this is Commander Vexic of the Zentari Defense Force. You have invaded restricted space and stolen property belonging to the Zentari Confederacy. Surrender immediately." Morgan exchanged looks with his team. "Property?" he said quietly. Lisa nodded grimly. "They consider the archive theirs now." Morgan opened the channel. "Commander Vexic, this is Captain Morgan. We're on a rescue mission. We've recovered a survivor from a human research vessel. We claim no ownership of anything in this sector." "You lie, human," Vexic replied. "Our sensors detect precursor technology aboard your shuttle. Return it immediately or face destruction." Chief Kelly held up the key he had taken from the archive. He must mean this. Before Morgan could respond, the shuttle's communication system crackled again. A new voice spoke, one they hadn't heard before. "Zentari vessels, this is Captain John Rivers of the USS Defiant. We have you outgunned. Stand down immediately." Through the viewport, they saw a flash of light as a second human battleship appeared from jump space. It was larger than the Valiant, bristling with weapons that were already aimed at the Zentari ships. "Another human ship?" Grant said in disbelief. "How did they find us?" As the shuttle docked with the Valiant, Morgan and his team rushed to the bridge. Commander Jones met them at the turbolift. "The USS Defiant is hailing us, Captain," Jones reported. "They claim Admiral Miller sent them as backup." Morgan frowned. "Miller? Not Harris?" "That's correct, sir. Admiral Patricia Miller. She outranks Harris." On the bridge, the view screen showed the standoff between the Defiant and the 3 Zentari ships. The ancient station floated between them, its systems now fully activated, lights pulsing along its surface. "Open a channel to the Defiant," Morgan ordered. Captain Rivers appeared on screen. He was older than Morgan, with stern features and cold eyes. "Captain Morgan, Admiral Miller sends her regards. We're here to complete your mission and escort you home." Something in Rivers' tone made Morgan uneasy. "We've rescued a survivor and obtained information about the archive. We're ready to return to Earth space." Rivers smiled thinly. "Excellent work. But our orders have changed. We're to destroy the station and all evidence of the archive. Too dangerous to leave it intact. Prepare to transfer the survivor and any data to the Defiant." Lisa, who had followed them to the bridge, stepped forward. "No, the station can't be destroyed. The knowledge it contains could benefit all species." Rivers' expression hardened. "Who is this civilian?" "Science Officer Lisa Cole," Morgan replied. "The survivor we rescued." "I see. Transfer her to the Defiant immediately. Admiral Miller will want to debrief her." As the communication ended, Lisa grabbed Morgan's arm. "Captain, please listen. The archive isn't just technology. It contains a message from the precursors, a test for developing species. If we destroy it, we fail that test." Before Morgan could reply, alarms blared across the bridge. "Zentari ships are powering weapons," Lieutenant Grant called out. "They're targeting the Defiant." "And the Defiant is targeting the station," Jones added. "They're preparing to fire." On the view screen, the standoff had turned deadly. As Morgan watched, he realized he faced an impossible choice. Follow new orders from Admiral Miller, trust Lisa's warning about the archive, or try to find another way out of this deadly triangle between the Valiant, the Centauri, and the Defiant. Captain Morgan watched the view screen as the Defiant charged its main weapons. He had seconds to make a decision that could start a war. Open channels to both the Defiant and the Centauri ships, he ordered. Lieutenant Grant worked quickly. Channels. Open, Captain. Morgan stood tall. This is Captain Elijah Morgan of the USS Valiant. I request all ships hold fire immediately. There's more at stake here than any of us realized. On the split screen, Commander Vexic of the Centauri hissed in anger, while Captain Rivers looked annoyed. This is not your call to make, Morgan, Rivers said coldly. Admiral Miller's orders are clear. The station must be destroyed. Human captain speaks truth, Vexic said, surprising everyone. Station holds great power, too great for any one species. Morgan nodded to Vexic. Commander, you've been guarding this station for 5 years. You know what it contains. Is destruction really the answer? Vexic's alien features were hard to read, but his hesitation was clear. Centauri High Command orders destruction if humans attempt to claim it. And our orders are the same about the Centauri, Rivers cut in. Stand aside, Morgan. This doesn't concern your ship anymore. Lisa Cole stepped forward into view of both captains. I am Science Officer Lisa Cole, the last survivor of the USS Horizon. I've spent 5 years in stasis inside that station. The archive is not a weapon to be claimed or destroyed. It's a test. Rivers looked surprised to see her. A test? What nonsense is this? The truth, Lisa said firmly. The precursors left the archive to find worthy successors. Species who could cooperate instead of fight. That's why the station's AI awakened when both humans and Centauri entered. As she spoke, the lights on the ancient station began to pulse more rapidly. Chief Engineer Kelly, who had been analyzing the key they took from the archive, looked up. In alarm, Captain, energy readings from the station are increasing dramatically. On the view screen, all 3 groups watched as the giant ring structure of the station began to rotate slowly. Light gathered at its center, forming a bright sphere. What's happening? Rivers demanded. Sentinel is fully awake now, Lisa explained. The station is activating its primary systems. Morgan turned to his crew. Shields up, but hold position. No aggressive actions. Suddenly, their communications were interrupted by a new signal. Sentinel's calm voice filled all 3 ships. Attention, visitors. This facility has detected multiple species in proximity. The great test begins now. Before anyone could respond, a wave of energy burst from the station. It washed over all ships harmlessly, but every control panel flickered. Status report, Morgan called out. All systems functional, Commander Jones reported. But our weapons are offline, engines too. Same here, Rivers growled from the Defiant. Vexic looked equally troubled. Centauri ships also affected. Sentinel's voice returned. To prevent further conflict, all offensive capabilities have been temporarily disabled. The archive is not a prize to be claimed by force. It is knowledge to be earned through cooperation. The bright sphere at the center of the station expanded, projecting an image visible to all ships. It showed a star map of the galaxy with thousands of points of light. These are precursor sites throughout this galaxy, Sentinel explained. Each contains knowledge and technology left for worthy successor species. Together, they form the archive. Lisa stepped closer to the view screen, eyes wide. It's not just one location, it's an entire network. Chief Kelly studied his readings. Captain, that key we took isn't just a key to this station. It's an access point to the entire network. Rivers looked furious. This doesn't change our orders. Once systems are back online, we destroy this station. That would be unwise, a new voice said. A communication channel had opened from one of the Centauri ships. The speaker was not Vexic, but a female Centauri with lighter coloring and elaborate markings on her face. I am Diplomat Shel Ka of the Centauri Reform Movement, she said. Commander Vexic, I apologize for revealing myself, but this moment is too important. Vexic looked shocked. A reformist on my ship? On all Zentari ships, Shelka replied calmly. Many of us believe cooperation with humans is our future, not conflict. The archive proves we were right. Morgan saw an opportunity. Diplomat Shelka, what do you propose? A joint research mission. Zentari and humans working together to study the archive, sharing all discoveries equally. Rivers laughed harshly. Admiral Miller would never agree to that. Morgan faced Rivers on the view screen. Captain, something isn't right about our orders. Admiral Harris sent us to retrieve the archive, not destroy it. Now suddenly Admiral Miller sends you with opposite orders? Miller outranks Harris, Rivers said. But he looked less certain. Lisa spoke up again. Captain Morgan, there's something else you should know. Before the Zentari attacked my ship, we discovered evidence that certain human officials were working with hardliners in the Zentari government. They wanted to weaponize the archive technology. An alarm sounded on the Valiant's bridge. Lieutenant, Grant checked her console. Captain, I'm detecting unusual activity in engineering. Someone is trying to override our systems. Morgan tapped his communication badge. Security to engineering, on the double. Chief Kelly rushed toward the turbo lift. I'll check it out. On the view screen, Sentinel's voice returned. Warning. Unauthorized access attempt detected on human vessel Valiant. Security protocols activating. The mysterious key they had taken from the archive began to glow in Kelly's hand. He stopped, staring at it in surprise as symbols appeared on its surface. Captain, the key is responding to the threat. Dr. Wright scanned it quickly. It's interfacing with our ship's systems. It's protecting us. In engineering, security officers cornered a man working frantically at a control panel. It was Ensign Kevin Wilson, a recent transfer to the Valiant. When security approached, he pulled out a weapon. Stay back, Wilson shouted. I have orders from Admiral Miller directly. Back on the bridge, Morgan received the security report. We have a saboteur, he told the others, working for Admiral Miller. Rivers looked genuinely surprised. I don't understand. My orders came directly from Miller. Vexic hissed softly, as did the orders to my superiors. This suggests manipulation. Shelka nodded. For years, certain factions have wanted control of this sector. They would risk war to get it. As they spoke, the station's energy sphere pulsed again. Sentinel's voice was stronger now. The test continues. You have identified treachery among you. Now you must choose how to respond. Morgan looked at the faces on his view screen. Vexic, Shelka, Rivers, and his own crew. 5 years of tension between their species had led to this moment. I propose a truce, Morgan said finally. No one claims or destroys the station. We form a joint team, human and Zentari, to study the archive together. Rivers shook his head. Our orders may be compromised, Morgan interrupted. Someone wants us fighting over the archive instead of learning from it. Vexic was silent for a long moment. The human captain speaks wisdom, he said finally. I will support a truce. As the 3 ships hung in space around the ancient station, the fate of 2 species balanced on the edge of cooperation or conflict. The precursors' test had begun, and the next few moments would determine if they would pass or fail. The ancient station hummed with energy as Captain Morgan awaited responses to his proposal. On the view screens, Captain Rivers looked conflicted while Commander Vexic and Diplomat Shelka whispered to each other in their native language. Captain, Chief Kelly called from his station. Something's happening with the key. The small device they had taken from the archive was now floating above Kelly's palm, spinning slowly and glowing brighter. Strange symbols appeared and disappeared on its surface. Sentinel's voice filled the bridge again. The choice to cooperate has been made. The final test begins now. The sphere of light at the center of the station expanded rapidly, engulfing all 3 ships in a gentle glow. No one could move or speak as a wave of information flooded their minds. Images of the precursors, tall, elegant beings with 6 limbs and glowing eyes, filled everyone's thoughts. Then, as suddenly as it began, the experience ended. The light retreated back to the station. What was that? Commander Jones asked, shaking his head to clear it. Dr. Wright looked amazed. It felt like knowledge, understanding. On the view screen, both human and Zentari crews seemed equally affected. Vexik was the first to speak. I saw their history. The precursors nearly destroyed themselves through war before learning to work together. I saw it too, Rivers admitted. They left the archive as a warning as much as a gift. Lisa Cole nodded. That's what my team discovered before we were attacked. The precursors wanted to ensure that only species who could cooperate would access their technology. The spinning key in Kelly's hand suddenly shot forward, creating a hologram in the center of the bridge. A precursor appeared, its voice translated into words all could understand. Greetings, potential successors. I am Ishara, last guardian of knowledge. Our civilization has moved beyond physical form, but we leave this message and the archive network for those who follow. You have found one node of many. The hologram showed the galaxy with thousands of points of light, the complete archive network. Each node contains different knowledge. Together they provide understanding that could elevate your civilizations, but only those who share and cooperate may access this knowledge. War and greed lead only to destruction, as we nearly discovered, too late. The hologram changed to show devastated planets and dying stars. This is what befell those who failed our test. They gained power without wisdom, so we created the archive as both gift and safeguard. Those who cooperate pass. Those who fight fail. The hologram precursor looked directly at Morgan. You stand at a crossroads. Choose wisely. As the hologram faded, the key floated back to Kelly's hand. On the Defiant, Captain Rivers was the first to break the silence. I need to contact Admiral Miller directly. These orders, they don't make sense anymore. Good luck with that, a new voice said. From the doorway of the Valiant's bridge, security officers led in the captured saboteur, Kevin Wilson. Miller is working with elements of the Zentari military leadership. They arranged everything. Vexik turned to Shelka with surprise. Is this possible? The Zentari diplomat nodded sadly. The High Council has been divided for years. Some wish for war, with humans to seize new territories. Others seek peaceful exchange of knowledge and culture. Wilson laughed bitterly. Same with Earth. Admiral Miller and her faction have been pushing for military advantage. Admiral Harris suspected something but couldn't prove it. Morgan faced Wilson directly. What was your mission? To ensure the Defiant destroyed the station while making it look like the Zentari attacked first. The perfect excuse for war. Wilson looked around at the stunned faces. I didn't know about the archive's true purpose. Morgan turned back to the view screen. Captain Rivers, Commander Vexik, you've seen the same vision I have. We stand at a crossroads for both our species, war or cooperation. The choice seems clear to me. Rivers nodded slowly. I can't follow orders I now know are compromised. The Defiant stands with the Valiant. Vexik placed a hand on his chest in a Zentari gesture of honor. And my ship stand with you both. We choose cooperation. As they spoke, the station began to transform. Sections rotated and locked into new positions. The ring structure opened like a flower, revealing a central platform. Sentinel? Morgan called out. What's happening? The test is passed, Sentinel replied. Temporary access to the archive is granted. Representatives may approach. Morgan looked around his bridge. Lisa, you've studied this the longest. Dr. Wright, your scientific knowledge is essential. Lieutenant Grant, your security expertise. You'll come with me. On the view screen, Vexik selected Shelka and 2 of his officers. Rivers chose 3 from his crew. The 3 shuttles docked at the transformed station 30 minutes later. When the teams met in the central chamber, humans and Zentari regarded each other cautiously but without hostility. The chamber was vast, its walls lined with technology beyond their understanding. At the center was a pillar of light containing what looked like a star map. Sentinel's voice welcomed them. Approach the Nexus. Morgan and Vexik stepped forward together. The star map expanded, showing hundreds of planets with precursor sites. The might complete archive network, Lisa whispered in awe. Access granted for one standard cycle, Sentinel announced. Sample knowledge follows. The light changed, data streaming into portable devices brought by both teams. Dr. Wright gasped as she reviewed it. Captain, this is incredible. Medical breakthroughs, sustainable energy solutions, terraforming techniques. And it's just a fraction of what's available. Shelka studied her own device. Space-time theory, faster-than-light travel improvements, planetary defense systems that harm no one. As they marveled at the knowledge, a final message from Ashara appeared. You have passed the initial test. Your cooperation has earned you this sample of knowledge. Use it wisely. When you are ready to share what you've learned and work together for mutual benefit, the next node will reveal itself. The path to full archive access requires sustained cooperation between your species and others you will meet. Choose wisely. We will be watching. The hologram faded. The teams looked at each other, the magnitude of what had happened sinking in. What now? Rivers asked. Morgan looked at the Zentari commander. We return to our governments with proof of what we've found. The archive cannot belong to any one species, it must be studied together. The hardliners will resist, Vexic warned. On both sides, Morgan agreed. But we have something they don't. What's that? Asked Lisa. Morgan held up the key, which now displayed a map to the next archive node. Hope, and a direction. 3 weeks later, a joint Human-Zentari declaration established the Precursor Study Coalition. The restricted zone was reclassified as an open research area. Ships from both species patrolled together, protecting the station from those who still sought to control it for themselves. On the observation deck of the USS Valiant, Captain Morgan stood with Lisa Cole, watching human and Zentari scientists working together below. Admiral Harris has been appointed as Earth's representative to the coalition, Morgan said. The evidence against Admiral Miller was overwhelming. Lisa nodded. And the Zentari reform movement now leads their delegation. Shelka says their hardliners have lost significant influence. Morgan looked out at the stars beyond the window. The precursors were right. We nearly destroyed ourselves fighting. Over power we weren't ready for. But we passed the test, Lisa reminded him. The first test, anyway. In the distance, the ancient station continued its slow rotation, a reminder of both challenge and opportunity. Somewhere among the stars, the next node of the archive waited for them, but only cooperation would light the way.